day, everyone. Welcome to the King Nigel Show. Today's topic will be on Breonna Taylor's death and, what transpired in the midst of the search warrant being executed. Whether it was a violation of Breonna Taylor's as well as Kennedy's civil rights as far as the Fourth Amendment goes. Now, I'm hearing quite a few stories here and there. I watched the news. I've heard some of the witnesses didn't hear the police announce themselves at all. But then it's the neighbor that's upstairs claim or profess. I don't know if they lied or not. Maybe they did and maybe they admitted later. I'm not sure if that may be the case or not. But that person stated that they heard police. Now, briefly, I want to touch on a situation here. As far as your Fourth Amendment right goes to the Constitution, when you have the right to have the privacy in your own home. Now, the search warrants that are executed by police supposed to give them lawfully the right to enter your home, whether it's announced or unannounced. Now, this is the thing. If, in fact, the search warrant was tainted because the story that I've heard, and far as what I've read, that the search warrant was changed in the midst of them executing the search warrant, or shortly before the search warrant was executed, it was changed from a no-knock to a knock-and-announce warrant. Now, the thing is this right here. Breonna Taylor's family has received they're going to receive, a settlement of $12 million as far as the unlawful death or the wrongful death of Breonna Taylor. God rest her soul, may she rest in peace. And my condolences sincerely goes out to the family. It's a very unfortunate and hurtful situation because this is something that's just as worse as the pandemic. The COVID-19 is killing us just as much. I'm talking about the police brutality as anything that we can ever come across as far as violence goes from law officials. Now, this is the thing. I'm not sure what transpired with the grand jury, why the officer wasn't charged with a homicide, or whether it's negligent homicide, or whether it's manslaughter, whatever the case may be. But this is the thing. If their search warrant was in fact changed in the midst of them executing that warrant, and it was, changed to announce that, hey, the police is coming in, or the police are coming in, or the feds are coming in, whatever lawful or law authority that you have, that's executing this warrant, that's all dead now. Because now that's an unlawful search and seizure. And now violates your constitutional rights. And now that is now a civil matter. Now, by the grand jury not indicting or, let's say, convicting the officer, that still doesn't take away the wrongful death suit. See, this is the thing. Now, I can't see how one officer has been charged, or they're looking at this one officer to be charged, or they fired just this one officer. But it's guilty by association, if you ask me, now that their constitutional rights has been violated, which is the Fourth Amendment to unlawful search and seizure. So now they have to come up with some more indictments. They got to get some more information and facts, some type of material sent back to the grand jury and everything, so this whole case can be sought over again. Because something clearly isn't right. First and foremost, as far as I know, I never known a search warrant could be altered in the midst of it being executed. First and foremost, I never known that you can amend. You can actually literally amend a search warrant. It has to even be signed electronically and everything by the judge and all that stuff, man. So if this is a pre-existing search warrant, there's problems, because I heard, and I've read as well, that it was a search warrant executed earlier that day or sometime, within that time frame. You know what I mean? And now they're going in, busting into these people's homes, unlawfully. Now, this is the thing. The thing that makes this so dangerous is that when you're in a state such as Kentucky, where you have stand your ground, that's a very, very dangerous situation. And that's why these no-knock or no-announce warrants should be done with. Is because these people, they even go as far as to check to see if Kenneth, had a prison permit before they even ran up in the house. They knew he was living there. They went through cell phone records of Breonna's, God rest her soul, and everything. They was watching. They had all this evidence or information that he was doing some type of illegal activity, or he conducted or contributed to some unlawful activity. But this is the thing. Why would you do that if you have this knowledge that this man, Kenneth, is actually a pistol permit holder? He has a firearm. He has a right to possess a firearm in his home, or if you have a CCW, you have a right to carry it on his person. Concealed. That doesn't sound right to me. It seems like these things are home invasions. I mean, these things are unlawful. Now someone, Breonna Taylor, God rest her soul, may she rest in peace, has lost her life due to this unfortunate, heinous crime. I'm going to show you guys something. Pay attention to this real quick.
One of the officers involved in the Breonna Taylor case, but they did not charge him for her death. Of the 3 officers involved, Brett Hankinson, Miles Cosgrove, and Jonathan Mattingly, only one of them, Hankinson, was indicted by the grand jury on 3 counts of wanton endangerment. The Kentucky Attorney General found the officer showed extreme indifference to human life. Bail was set at $15,000 cash. Taylor, a 26-year-old EMT, was shot and killed by police in her home during a raid back in March. Today, Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron said her death was a tragedy, but the rule of law must apply.
The decision before my office as the special prosecutor in this case was not to decide if the loss of Ms. Taylor's life was a tragedy. The answer to that question is unequivocally yes, yes. The success of our legal system is predicated on the principle that the accused is innocent until proven guilty. Despite passions, opinions, and desire for every detail to be known, the rule of law must apply.
Sadiqa Reynolds joins me now. She's the president and CEO of the Louisville Urban League. Sadiqa, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
What is your reaction after hearing the Attorney General explain details of the investigation, some of which are new? The public had not yet heard some of these details.
I think that many of the things he talked about are questions for a jury, not something that should be presented to a grand jury. I think it's important for us to remember that Kenny Walker, the boyfriend in this case, who was in the house with Breonna and fired the weapon, he was indicted within 2 minutes. It took less than 3 minutes for a grand jury to indict him. That's the way the grand jury process works in America. You get a little bit of information, you move forward, and then people have the right to their defense when they get to the jury trial. In this case, you have a grand jury that listened to evidence. It sounds like for the last couple of days, they heard inconclusive evidence. If you listen to the words that the Attorney General used, he said that the question of whether Hampton's bullet landed in the body and all that was inconclusive. The question of whether or not the officers announced themselves. He said that there was one person who, and he did hear the officers announce themselves. But what he didn't tell us is that there were multiple witnesses who did not hear police announce themselves. And in fact, the one that did say he heard the officers announce themselves is someone who was upstairs and outside and had to be interviewed and questioned several times before he actually said he heard them say police. The other thing is there were neighbors who called 911 to say, we need the police to come here. Somebody is shooting. So there were plenty of people who say they did not hear any announcement from police. So the contradictions, those things, those questions of fact, that is exactly what a jury should be deciding, not a grand jury. So in Kentucky, in Louisville, Kentucky, we are very Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what message do you think these charges are sending to the community there?
Oh, the message is clear that Black life still does not matter. And I think it's important for people to understand something. Louisville is not looking at this case in some sort of vacuum, in some sort of silo, as if we are disconnected from the rest of America. It is this country that taught us in the Trayvon Martin case what stand your ground meant. So we understand that now. So we shouldn't be certainly critical of Kenny Walker. You have to understand that Louisvillians are viewing this case through the lens of our pain with our brothers and sisters in other places in this country. We have learned from America.
Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who says that the people closest to the pain should be the closest to the solutions. And so that's why it's important that Breonna's Law for Kentucky is born from legislators in Jefferson County. So you asked and we answered. You asked that we end home invasions by police, and that's what Breonna's Law for Kentucky does. You might call them no-knock warrants, but they're home invasions. So Breonna's Law for Kentucky will end no-knock warrants across the Commonwealth, because y'all black folks are everywhere in Kentucky. Breonna's Law for Kentucky will mandate alcohol and drug testing after police shoot and kill somebody, after they murder somebody. You don't get to wander off for over an hour, right? You know, and then come back and we don't know what happened, and you don't get alcohol or drug testing. And Breonna's Law for Kentucky will mandate, or you will be disciplined, including termination, that when you are serving a warrant, not a no-knock warrant, not a home invasion, that when you are serving a warrant, 5 minutes before you serve that warrant and 5 minutes after, those body cameras better be on. Y'all know in Louisville anyway, we spend way too much money on these body cameras for y'all to not turn them on. I mean, the taxpayers are paying for them anyway, so at least use them, right? So Breonna's Law for Kentucky will answer that call to action. You will hear more from my colleague, Representative Wilder, about other pieces of legislation that we're working on, but I wanted to make sure her law answers some of your top demands for action.
So now, thankfully, the legislation is getting together to change some laws around the country, United States of America, because those no-knock warrants is dangerous. Not only to, the homeowners or the people that's living in the house, but it's dangerous to the officers as well. It's like this is premeditated murder, if you ask me, in a sense. And this is not me making any conclusions. I mean, this is my opinion, and I believe it's facts, because you can never justify what they have done to Breonna Taylor executing that search warrant. Now, a young lady has lost her life. A mother lost her daughter. Her family lost siblings and loved ones. All that stuff, man, that's sad. It's very unfortunate. So I believe and I hope that there are more charges being brought against these officers. With that being said, you guys, keep in tune to the King Nigel Show, and also stay up to date with these situations, man. These unfortunate situations that's going around with these police officers and everything, man, brutally murdering us. You can never justify the things that they do. And a lot of these things should be overseen. Officers should be drug tested and everything, like she has stated as far as speaking on the laws, should be changed and put into legislation, man. Because we don't know what these people are doing behind closed doors before they execute a search warrant. Maybe they had received their, the up-to-date information and just didn't utilize it. I can't see how one officer can be fired and 2 more officers fired shots. Over 20 rounds. 20 rounds. Think about it. It's genocide. Thanks for watching the King Nigel Show.